So good morning, everyone. I'm really excited to be here today with all of you, and especially excited about the panel we're about to hear. The colleagues we're bringing together have very distinct, innovative, and path-breaking ways of thinking about the issue of open access and reaching diverse communities. So the colleagues who will be joining us today, who I'll introduce in just a moment, are Drs. David Moore, Kamal Jethwani, Vikram Patel, and Shelley Greenfield, who will serve as the panel discussant. Now, to frame the panel for you, and you have an abstract in your program, the intention basically here is to bring cross-cultural therapeutics and all that's involved in that in this age, and the digital commons into conversation. And the panelists will, in different ways, address four overarching questions. The first is, how can we best leverage technology to close gaps in access and equity, and to improve mental health care in underserved areas in the United States and globally? The second question that they will address is where the greatest need exists. How can we situate these new forms of care in the context of culturally sensitive practice? Third, how might we begin to think rigorously about bidirectional translational science, especially what we can learn from successes in the developing world, and how we might apply them in underserved communities in first and second world regions, and vice versa? And finally, as we think ahead to next year and beyond, what are the emerging frontiers, we might say, for technology-integrated mental health and mental health care delivery? So since you have the biographies of the speakers in the program, I'll just introduce each of the panelists very briefly now. After their individual presentation and our discussion, the entire panel will convene up front, and we'll have a discussion for about 15 or 20 minutes. We'll also have time for interactive engagement with all of you. So begin to develop your questions, and we look forward to having you join in the conversation. So first up will be Dr. David Moore, who is a psychologist and a professor of preventative medicine at Northwestern University's Feinberg School of Medicine. There, he directs the Center for Behavioral Intervention Techniques. Dr. Kamal Jethwani is the Senior Director of Partners Connected Innovation. I think I might have that name correct. And he leads a very interesting and interdisciplinary team of colleagues who are both creating and validating technology-enabled solutions to improve health and mental health care. Dr. Vikram Patel is well known to all of you, I'm sure. He is the Pershing Square Professor of Global Mental Health and Wellcome Trust Research Fellow at Harvard Medical School. He's also the founder of Sangath, an Indian NGO which won the MacArthur Foundation's International Prize for Creative and Effective Institutions in 2008. And finally, Dr. Shelley Greenfield is the Christine M. Trustee Professor of Psychiatry at McLean Hospital, where she also serves as our Chief Academic Officer and directs the Division of Women's Mental Health. She's also this year the President of the American Academy of Addiction Medicine. So please join me in welcoming all of these colleagues and in welcoming David Moore to start us off. Thank you.